This is the Citizen Link Report.
If you find our insights helpful, would you support our video efforts? Your gift of $25 or more goes a long ways. Covers the crew, lights, cameras, all that. Just click on donate. Thanks from all of us. People around the world are talking about a possible cure for Down syndrome. They're also discussing the value of a human life. This is the Citizen Link Report. I'm Stuart Shepard, along with Carrie Gordon Earll, who follows the life issue for Focus on the Family. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Stuart.
There's some research out that suggests we may be close to possibly therapies or treatments or perhaps even a cure for Down syndrome, and that takes us right to the life issue.
You know, it really does, because Down syndrome is a perfect example of we all being made in the image of God. We're all created in His image. You know, we are human beings. We're not human doings, and our value as humans is not based on how productive we are, how good looking we are, what kind of car we drive, any of the types of measures that the world tends to put upon us. So when we talk about Down syndrome, it's a wonderful opportunity to talk about God's design for humanity in a fallen world. Isn't perfect, but every life from fertilization to natural death is sacred.
Let's join in the discussion that people are having all over. First, what is Down syndrome when you get right down to the science of it?
Well, I think probably everyone has interacted with or has known someone with Down syndrome, and generally people are born with 2 sets of 23 chromosomes for a total of 46. In essence, with Down syndrome, people are born with 3 sets of 1 chromosome, and that's usually chromosome 21. So they have an extra chromosome for a total of 47. There are quite a few people that are born with this condition, about 250,000 in the U.S. About 7,000 babies each year are born with Down syndrome, and the severity of the condition can vary from having cognitive delays and heart defects and a shortened lifespan for some, and others will live a long life and will be mainstreamed. So there's quite a variety there.
Now, the headlines suggest we may be close to a cure. Is that a stretch?
It's a bit of a stretch, but there is some good news, and that is that the University of Massachusetts Medical School has released a study where they have found a way to insert a gene into that extra chromosome, in essence silencing it. So it's a really interesting approach here, and it could lead to treatments. It's unlikely it's going to lead to a cure because it would have to affect conception in that way, and they aren't saying that's possible, but they're very excited. This is a significant discovery for them because it helps them better understand how that extra chromosome operates, and with that there is the potential for treatments and therapies that had not even been imagined before for Down syndrome.
Now, for years now, we've been in an era where when someone's pregnant, there's a test that's taken, and the doctor can say your child has Down syndrome, your preborn baby has this condition. How do you think this will impact decisions that are made based on that news?
Well, a diagnosis of Down syndrome, which is different than a screening, if you're diagnosed the baby with Down syndrome, that's a life-changing word to those parents. And it can be very frightening because it's the fear of the unknown. And there are some women that forego prenatal screening and testing because for them abortion is just not an issue. Unfortunately, most of the diagnoses of Down syndrome end up being a death sentence for that preborn baby because more than 80% of women, according to studies, abort when they find out that they have been diagnosed with a Down syndrome pregnancy. So in that case, the ability to diagnose leads to the death of an innocent. But that's where we're optimistic about this research, because this is the type of information that I think can be very helpful and hopeful to parents that have received that kind of a diagnosis. They need to have good information, and you know, the doctor that does the diagnostic test might not have the latest and most accurate information about these types of studies. So we encourage parents to get as much information as they can. Also talk to families that are raising Down syndrome children, because they'll be able to help you walk through some of those fears and really have good information so you can make a life-affirming decision.
Now, there's a story out of Virginia that illustrates in real life how many families are ready to open their arms to a child with Down syndrome.
This was a fascinating post on many of our Facebooks in the last couple of weeks. And this was a church in Virginia that posted a story. They had received a call from an adoption agency trying to help a couple. A married couple had been diagnosed their baby was Down syndrome, and they did not want to parent the baby. And so the word went out to this adoption agency, well, unless we find a home, we are going to abort this pregnancy. Well, this Virginia church posted that on their Facebook. Within a very short amount of time, they had more than 900 contacts of people with the message, yes, I will take that baby, wow, including mothers who were already parenting Down syndrome children who were willing to adopt, plus they wanted to talk to the birth family and say, let me tell you what a blessing this child is to us and everyone else. So that was a happy ending to that story. They were able to find an adoptive family, and as far as we know, that baby is being born into that home.
All right. Carrie, thank you for your insights, for keeping track of all this.
Thanks, Stuart.
And thank you for watching. We always appreciate hearing from you. Let us know what you think. You can send us your questions, your comments, your criticisms. We're open to all of that. You may write us at mail@citizenlink.com. And pray for families around the world as they have these conversations about the value of human life, and particularly what to do in the event that during a pregnancy there's a diagnosis of Down syndrome. Pray for those families as they make those decisions, and pray that they make a life-affirming choice. And remember, stand tall and be heard.